I've been in a war with the rest of the world for a long time now, because I am in the USA, an infamous alliance consisting of mostly nations in the eastern United States. This war has been mostly one-sided on the world politics level, with an insane amount of nations coming to the aid of our enemy. And this war has affected my channel too, with the videos I've made on the war all getting dislike spammed, and the commenters telling me I'm biased. So today I thought I'd make an unbiased video that anybody can watch. So I asked my friend from Quebec, Omega Astra, if he wanted to do a video with making our cases for why our sides are right. He will get half the video and I'll get half the video. We'll both try to convince the viewers why our sides are correct. Before this video starts, make sure you do subscribe. This channel has been growing at an insane rate, which is awesome to see. We make EarthMC videos, so if you enjoy that content, please subscribe. Also subscribe to Omega Astra for helping out with this video and doing so much work to make sure this comes out right. Also, quick disclaimer, this video was created before the USA kind of collapsed, so we won't be mentioning that in this video. I'll have a video on that next Sunday. The first person to declare war was CSA, so I'll start by breaking down their reasoning, because it's not that hard. The CSA's mission was to take over the entire southern United States. They cared very little about border agreements, and the only time we talked about any kind of agreement was when he proposed that my nation, at the time, completely stopped expanding so the CSA could take all of our land. This is a real conversation I had with their leader, Colton Top Gun. They have no way of claiming that they are in the right here, but still they claim that they were being beaten down and taunted. I can only assume this means that you are being beaten down by the existence of South Carolina, the nation you tried so hard to claim back over and over again. They are the clear aggressors in this situation. You can see this clearly by how they attempted to claim block us while they were declaring war, making it clear they wanted us to not be able to expand. So after CSA declared war, it started a chain reaction, and every nation and their mother was declaring war on the USA. The next one being Illinois. In their war declaration, they said, "Unfortunately, Illinois cannot continue with this clear invasion of our territory, and therefore we must take action." This brings us to the main claim, which is that we claimed in their territory and tried to steal it. Sure, some USA nations made towns in Illinois claims. This was not encouraged or endorsed by our government, and we had apologized for it. But it was significantly less serious than what the other side had been doing, with people like CSA making claim block towns around South Carolina multiple times, something that none of these nations mention even once. Illinois even said that they were coming to the aid of the GCA and in turn the CSA. So it's not that they were unhappy with the CSA and didn't want to tell us, they're openly backing this nation in the war efforts. So I don't want to hear the argument that they didn't think CSA was in the right here, because they were very obviously working alongside with the CSA to help them with whatever they needed. So next, Louisiana declared war on the USA, saying that they were supporting their allies, of which who would have guessed, the CSA. So there's no way at this point that you can say Illinois aren't hypocrites. They are saying that this fight is against people who don't respect claims, while backing a nation that openly does not respect claims. So now we get away from North America and onto an international scale. It all started when Britain declared war. After this happened, I started talking with some people in the British Discord. Most importantly, their leader, Mine Hero. He cited a reason for aiding their allies, a situation where the town Terrace Bay left Lacus Magnia and joined Minnesota. Now, on the surface, this seems like Minnesota just stole a town from Lacus Magnia, so I can see why someone like Britain, who doesn't know American politics, would see this as bad, because they don't know how bad Lacus Magnia is. See, Terrace Bay left on their own accord, because they had been seeing racist things going on in this nation. They showed us screenshots of what had been going on, and with this adding on to what we already knew, this painting a very clear picture of who Lacus Magnia was. I'll tell you a few things. Lacus Magnia's Discord is a dumpster fire. I was in it for a little bit and completely gave up on talking to these people. They say the N-word on a consistent basis. You can't really have a conversation without seeing it. They build slosh stickers in their capital, as well as a literal concentration camp in the capital of a major American nation. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen on EarthMC. Now, it got destroyed before the mods could see it, but it was a real concentration camp in Lacus Magnia. The fact all these people are still playing this server with no consequences is the most insane thing I've seen on EarthMC, and that's saying a lot. So Terrace Bay leaving this nation was completely justified. But still, this racist nation is being defended by the biggest of big nations. Quebec, Illinois, Cascadia, and Britain all defended this insane nation. Now, before I move away from this, I have one more war declaration to debunk. Cascadia. See, Cascadia had always made themselves out to be a very serious and peaceful nation. So this declaration came as a surprise. They said it was in defense of the North American Pact, which I believe, but the reasons they gave were a bit lackluster. Their first claim was that we invaded territory that had been previously agreed to borders on, or that we had zero claims to, while simultaneously denying that borders agreements should be followed. Now, there's hypocrisy in the first part of this statement, because as I said, CSA was doing the exact same thing. But they said that they don't think border agreements should be followed applies to this situation. It was a while ago, so I think they're referring to Cobb Lobster, a higher up in the USA who doesn't personally believe in border agreements. I think most people in this union disagree with him, so he shouldn't be used against us. They then say that we threatened to claim block, which is hilarious because yet again, CSA did the exact same thing. But I would also assume you are referring to the president saying this after the war was already declared. So I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, I mean, I guess it works for them. So that's the end. This whole conflict was going to happen. They all made it out to be because we were claim blocking and being aggressive. But we all knew this was going to happen no matter what we did. And they were simply looking for a viable reason to make everyone think this war was justified. They have always wanted us gone. And if these nations who were blindly declaring war on us knew the truth about what was going on, I don't think nearly as many nations would have declared war. The USA, in name, has a history of discomfort around the continent, so they wanted to get rid of us. That is what was happening here. It wasn't us, it was them. I hope my argument was enough to convince you that the USA is in the right. Now I'll hand this video over to Omega Astra for his part of the video.
The conflict that has taken place in North America was in the minds of everyone in the NAP, with many opinions. To establish the motivating factors and goals, a dive back to before the conflict is in order. Back in the Discord channels of the NAP, sentiments ran high. Illinois had recently accused the United States of violating the Ohio and Wisconsin border agreements established at one of the previous summits. Screenshots at hand, censors asked the treaty be respected and explanations given. The debates continued throughout the day, but without much calm. Indeed, some nation members had become wary of the Union, not only because of the anti-United States sentiments running deep because of the US wars waged in 2019 and 2020, but because of toxicity from both sides. Lucas of New York was, according to Trump officials, bent on their total annihilation, while US members said census was killing US members in fallen counts on EarthMC. Nonetheless, things began to escalate when Bleeplop, President of the United States at the time, was also accused by Census himself that he was attempting to bid Michigan from Illinois, further causing more tension. This was the absolute last chance, a final attempt to fix problems in the NAP. For over 3 hours, discussions were held on borders, maps were being drawn, and people were debating. People thought it was dealt with at the end, the crisis had been averted. However, the next day, Frack showed 5 screenshots further accusing Bleeplop from bidding on Michigan. The fight that ensued would probably be the last one Bleeplop would have in the G5 channels. Another debate had indeed erupted, Bleeplop defending himself, accusing NAP members of a witch hunt and using the bid as an attempt to derail the United States. Screenshots were thrown around for 3 days before, after Bleeplop leaked some chat messages, got kicked by the mediator. The final straw came when Bleeplop sent an ultimatum demanding his return to the G5 channel or the United States will leave the NAP. The mediator at the time, Jester, refused and banned him immediately, while the G5 voted to kick the United States for the problems they had caused. From there, the situation went from bad to worse. A month later, the United States were the target of a declaration of war from the GCA, Illinois, and many nations in the NAP. Thus, a 5-month conflict began with claim blocks, bribes, and betrayal on both sides. PvP, which can be admitted that by its absence, was due to a lack of PvPers on the United States side, and that it did not play a big part in the conflict. So what can be concluded of this extreme violence? To conclude, the anti-US sentiment is composed of old rivalry and hatred for more than 5 conflicts based around US and US-type organizations, but also of many problems beginning around that union. Borders and territories were continually put into question even after border treaties were set up. Toxicity from both sides and betrayals furthered the hate. Recently, the NAP claimed victory, stating that the United States had been reduced to 2 to 3 states and the goal of the reduction of influence being achieved, while the US responded the exact opposite, saying that they were still alive and had survived the onslaught of NAP forces. Is this the end of a long story or just the opening of a new era? Only time will tell.
Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure to subscribe to Omega Astra, and thanks again for all the help he did on this video. Make sure to subscribe to me. Make sure to join the Discord. It's an awful place, but hey, you might like it. Thank you all very much for watching. Gashkali, I hope you enjoyed it. Toothbrush.